Hey guys, today I want to talk about the exchange rate. Right now it's at 55.77. Yesterday it was 56.20 or a little bit higher than that, I think, at some of the places around here. And it's dropping really, really quickly because it was up way higher than that before, around 58 or somewhere around there a little while back. And I think it has to do with just the holidays, the amount of money coming in. A lot of different factors are causing that. Some people are stating that they don't think it'll go back. Some people are stating that it probably will after Christmas. Nobody really knows, but my recommendation is that I would take, if you need money for the next month or two, I would take it at the high rate that it's at now, because it's probably going to drop a little bit lower, I'm thinking. I think it'll drop down to 54, 53, probably by Christmas or the end of the year, maybe even lower. It could go lower, but nobody really truly knows what the U.S. is going to do to try to prop up the dollar more, which is probably coming soon. That could make it go back, but the Philippines is also doing stuff to prop up the peso. So it's kind of like a battle between the two, and the two of them go back and forth. But I just want to touch on that a little bit. It's kind of like a crapshoot. Nobody really can predict it. There are people out there that do money exchanges all the time, and I have a friend of mine, and he says right now it's very topsy-turvy. He says it's very hard to tell which way it's going to go, because the U.S. government's always trying to prop up the dollar. The Philippines is propping up their currency. It's back and forth, back and forth. It's like a tug of war, and the same goes with other countries too. A lot of countries, I should say, have been kind of pissed off at the United States because that the dollar is so strong and has weakened all their currencies, and anything that they buy from the U.S. they have to pay more for. Well, in some ways it's good, and in some ways it's bad. It's great for us people that live outside the U.S., but it's terrible for the people that are living inside the U.S. In a lot of ways, because the dollar back home, I mean, people are paying these incredible rates for food, incredible rates for rentals. I'm seeing these people in my old town and in my old home, and they're paying $1,500 for a studio. For a one bedroom, they're paying $1,700 to $2,000 in some places. Crazy amounts for back home, and that's in a place that is not actually a nice area. Lawrence, Massachusetts is not really a beautiful town. It's very poverty stricken, and to be able to have to pay rents like that, I think is crazy. Now up in Maine, where my sister lives, you can still get decent rates up near Skowhegan, places like that, but there's no jobs. There's no there's nothing going on much up there except all woods and snow. And I'm not sure if I would want to live up there just to get a low rent. But yes, you can get decent places up there for cheap money. And the problem is with what's going on in the United States right now is that there's all these illegal immigrants that are coming into the country, and these states that are taking them in are putting them into some of these low-cost apartments, and it's making the rentals go up sky high because the government's subsidizing these people too, and that's kind of killing things off back home. So I mean, like, for anybody that's planning on going back to the U.S., I would think twice, because we still have it made over here. I haven't seen our rates move on our rents in a long time in this area. Nothing has changed. Sorry for the wind noise, guys. It's pretty windy around here, but I haven't seen any of the rental prices really change in the 4 or 5 years that I've been here. It's crazy to be able to pay $70, $80 rent for what I pay for mine, depending on the exchange rate. And for what I pay for my girlfriend's daughter's apartment, we pay $60. That's a steal. That's a steal for that, because these are beautiful little apartments. And some people say, well, geez, Steve, wow, it's like moving into a closet or a storage facility. No, they're not. They're actually quite comfortable. You guys have seen my place. It's better than paying $1,500 to $1,700 back in the United States, especially if you're retired, because most people can't afford that. And I notice a lot of older guys, they complain about everything. everything. You know, I mean, I'm older, and I complain a little bit too myself, so I'm in that mode. I find that as people get older, they kind of bitch and moan a little bit about everything. It's kind of funny, and if they stop to think before they spoke, sometimes I think they would kind of rethink what they say, what comes out of their mouth. I think their mouth goes too faster than their brain does or whatever. Because whenever I talk about the low rents here and what we get here, the people don't compare it to what we get back home. I've looked at some of the apartments online at some of these places, these cheap apartments back home in different towns and stuff, and they're just a little bit bigger than the apartments over here, but they're crappy. They're in a crappy neighborhood. It's not close to anything. I'm close to everything. I can go to Manila. I can go every place here. It's really, really good. And I just want to talk about that, guys, because even with the exchange rate over here, the way it is, it can fluctuate pretty much between 50 and 60 or even 49. And we're still doing really, really good over here because the cost of living is way cheaper over here. So I don't really worry too much about that. Plus, we're going to be getting our COLA raises soon on Social Security and a lot of other things that people have for municipal pensions, things like that. A lot of people are getting the COLA raises, and that's going to really boost people. Also for the VA, military retirements, all that stuff. It's going to be a pretty decent boost coming at the end of this month, at the end of December here. For our first check is going to be massive. You know, it's going to be a good sized check for everybody. I think everybody's going to be happy about that. But you know, and everything kind of balances out. And with us losing a little bit of that exchange rate, we didn't lose it that much, but we lost a little bit. It kind of chews into what we just got for a COLA raise. And you know, also we have our little cost, not our inflation over here, which kind of keeps on edging up a little bit. And if you go out to eat and everything, I'm noticing that the costs over here are starting to get a little bit more costly for some things, for food and food items and going out to eat and restaurants and things like that. You kind of have to pay attention now to what you're doing and how much you're spending more. I think gas has been killer. The cost of fuel over here has been killer for riding or renting a car or Grabs or taxis or whatever. I think the taxis, I feel the worst for them because they're getting chewed up right now. And I know that a lot of the guys try to overcharge. You know, a lot of the taxis do not want to use the meter because they want to try to subsidize that by saying, hey, pay me this much and I'll drive you here. And some people will agree to that and some people won't. I won't, because I'm not going to pay double the price, because when I told the guy I wanted the meter on, if you don't put it on, I'm going to get out. The guy says, well, I want 200 to go from PTX to Mall of Asia. And I said, I'm not going to pay that. Well, when he put the meter on, I think it cost me like about 100 or close to 100 to get over there from where we were. It was really quick. It was like that. And we got over there. I want to say it was 100. So I saved myself a few pesos. And I told the guy, I says, you know, I probably would have paid you 200. But I said, now I'm not going to pay you that because you're gouging, you know. And I understand where they're coming from, because they're the ones who are paying the fuel, and the fuel costs are expensive. And I don't mind giving the guy a little bit of a tip, but you know, I probably would have paid him double because I know where they're at. But when they try to gouge me, I say no. That's when I'll give them a little bit of a tip, but I won't give them as much. But definitely things are changing. I see in food prices, everything over here, things are changing. Meat's very costly. Even chicken and pork and beef is just off the charts over here, no matter where it comes from. If it's imported or whatever. I noticed the beef quality in some of the restaurants, they're using lower grade beef, which isn't as good. Texas Roadhouse, though, doesn't do that. I've had luck at Texas Roadhouse. Kenny Rogers, I really have a lot of luck there with their food. But the prices have gone up. The prices have gone up at Kenny Rogers also. I noticed on their platters, they have like these pasta platters. They've gone up quite a lot, more than 20% now. Since like a year ago, they've boosted some of their prices. I notice I'm seeing shortages of some things. Again, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola can be hard to get sometimes on some days. Some days they're stocked full, like when the order first comes in, and then as it runs out, it might take them a week to get here or whatever. Now, in some other areas, Coca-Cola galore everywhere. They can get Coke all they want. But here in this town here, and this is the capital of Cavite, we're seeing shortages of things. But anyway, guys, I want to talk about that. You know, the exchange rate is changing. If I had to guess, I would say we're going to go lower before the end of the month. And I think we'll bounce back a little bit next month. And I'm not sure where it's going to go from there. I think we're going to start seeing some big changes. You know, I see the world economy just kind of, you know, doing a lot of movement and a lot of changes here and there. And I'm not sure where the United States is going right now. In fact, I do see the Philippines is doing better right now, actually. But anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's chat. God bless, guys.